What's up, adventurers? Brand new video on ZENLESS Zone Zero. This one's talking about, should we skip qingyi? And I have a lot of opinions about these new characters that are coming and a lot of really interesting stuff coming to ZENLESS Zone Zero. And all the credit goes to, of course, Shanaha with this great video, quick little video, but a lot of interesting stuff to come to the game, which raises my thought of, is ZENLESS Zone Zero trying to encourage burnout to a degree? So let's watch the video and we'll go from there.
Patch 1.1 is just around the corner, which means we'll have a chance to roll for Qingyi, who has been showing off for quite a while now. But forget about that, there's some new characters to talk about, since miHoYo have already started teasing some brand new characters that we will likely be getting in patch 1.2. And with the introduction of these new characters, it also...
This is kind of leading me down the road of thinking that Is it a good thing that we're releasing drip marketing for these characters so soon? I wonder, because I mean, personally, these characters that they look great, and a lot of the characters that have already been talked about more, your Jane Doe characters, like they look fantastic. But my one concern is like releasing these characters that are clearly like your 5-star characters, your S level characters. My curiosity is it releasing it too soon to where it's like you're eating up the marketing of the previous wave? Now, I mean, this is, of course, far in advance. We don't know like when this patch is per se going to come out unless it's been leaked. But this is something that I guess I'm not super familiar with in the gacha space. And that is like, is there a too soon to release these out? Like, is it too soon to release these out? I mean, and it's not like they're the only team to do this either. Other teams have done this and released the drip marketing for their characters really soon. So I wonder if it might be too soon.
Gives us some insight to some of the potential lore and story beats we could see. Let's start off with Caesar King, since she was the first one shown off. Caesar is the leader of the Sons of Caledon, and she is a physical defender, which makes sense considering she has that shield, which is technically speaking a wheel, I suppose, with the Sons of Caledon logo on it. Now, what's important is in the promotional text that accompanies her reveal, she says, "As you've come all the way to the outer ring, consider yourself a guest of the Sons of Caledon." Now, this could just be some flavor text to accompany the images, but surely if 1.2 features these Sons of Caledon members, we're probably going to be able to visit them somehow, right? Like how we have 6th Street for the Cunning Hares or Luminous Square for the public security. So this could be a bit of a tease as to...
I think with that, when you have these factions, I really like having these sections that are dedicated to certain factions, because as much as it may not be a thing, and I know people hate when I say I would wish MMO features could be added into a gacha, but faction wars is like one of the coolest concepts. It was introduced in something like New World, where you have basically people with preference for factions, and the more you participate within a certain faction, the more you can sort of dominate the area. And so choosing factions and being able to see more of that side, or have more availability of like items or things because you choose that side, I think is really cool. Now, I know they wouldn't do that in a gacha because they don't want people missing out in those type of things, but faction wars, to me, oh my god.
To our next destination in terms of the main story. We could be on our way to the outer ring, whatever that is. Otherwise, next are the quotes from other members of the Sons of Caledon. Firstly is Luciana Auxesis Theodoro de Montifio, who we all know as Lucy. But below that is none other than the Billy Kid, who refers to Caesar as Big Sis when introducing her to the Cunning Hares. So this is some big Billy lore right here.
I wondered if this means that this leader is going to be like an actual boar character, kind of like how we have Ben. I wonder if that's going to be a similar way.
Which honestly, we kind of should have seen in hindsight. He does wear a red jacket with what does look like a boar on the back of it. Very similar to the Sons of Caledon logo. So once again, maybe we will see into the past of Billy, and also, this does open up the possibility of a Sons of Caledon Billy alt. I'm just saying. Starlight Rider Billy alt, regular Billy, Sons of Caledon Billy alt. It's a possibility. Next up though is someone called Big Daddy, who I doubt is related to Ben Bigger, but there have been no other characters shown off in any way that could correlate to Big Daddy. So whether or not this is a future playable character, or just a story NPC, we'll have to wait and see. And lastly is a little fun one. It's a table leg that was crushed by Caesar's pinky toe. God, I wish that was me. Speaking of some brand new characters.
Ew, oh my god, what? Lord, gacha players are okay. Are ZENLESS Zone Zero players okay?
If you need to top up for some polychrome to try and get that shiny new S rank, why not consider using Loot Bar? Loot Bar is highly secure, fast, and...
So, one thing that I'll say about polychrome that is like I'm curious about, there seems to be a lot of ways to farm polychrome at least semi-effectively. Now, I know it does require a lot more time investment than most people are willing to invest, but I haven't had too much of an issue with polychrome, but I also haven't had like huge stocks that I'm able to build up either. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think as far as like, are you able to farm up large stocks? Are you having issues? Because personally, I haven't really seen it myself, but with them releasing all these potential characters, are you guys having to, or are you planning to hoard a lot of your polychrome? That's what my curiosity lies. I know like the reels, like those are or the master tapes, those are like, at least to me, very challenging to get a few of, but I haven't had tons of issues myself.
Burn ice. Get it? Because she has like flamethrowers that can burn melt ice because she's like a fire. Okay, never mind. But basically, Burnice is a fire type anomaly unit, also from the Sons of Caledon. She calls herself a mixologist, and her flavor text kind of backs this up since she does mention making some drinks, but at the same time, she describes these drinks as fuel. So I don't know if these.
I'm liking the variety of these characters, like weapon kits, or I think they're play-worthy kits. I think they're quite diverse. At least with these new characters, they are introducing new characters that feel new. As much as, you know, like characters like Jinshi, Changli, as much as I enjoy both of those characters, at the same time, they feel very samey. You know, one has a dragon, one doesn't. But a lot of slashes, a lot of air moves, you know, there's a lot of things going on. But then there's not like a whole lot of difference. So I think they have done a really good job with their versatility in their weapon kits.
These are actual human drinks, or maybe this is a drink that only Billy can have or something. For her quotes though, nothing.
I think this also makes me wonder, like, are we going to get character story specific quests for all of these? I hope we do. That's another thing that I think gets pushed by the wayside when you're releasing a lot of characters, is like you miss out on getting like dedicated like story quests for a number of characters because there's so many. But I think if we get story character quests for all of these, that'd be interesting.
Nothing new as we see Piper, Lucy, and Caesar, as well as Lighter, who again we know does exist, but speaking of Lighter though, this is where some interesting speculation can appear for us. If we look at previous 1.1 teasers, the order of the reveals were Qingyi, Seth, and then Jane Doe. So basically the order was the S rank, the A rank, and then the S rank. So it's safe to say I think that Caesar is very likely an S rank, being the leader of the Sons of Caledon, and she'll probably be the first banner as well. But what about Burnice here?
Burnice, I feel like is going to be A.
She was shown off second, which might suggest that she is the A rank if the pattern is the same. However, if you pay close attention to the PubSec showcases, both Qingyi and Jane Doe had their teasers use a live 2D image with some slight animation. Meanwhile, Seth had a static PNG in his showcase. Burnice as well as Caesar both have live 2D images, which means that both Burnice and Caesar could.
I think like what this introduces though, like if you speculate a bit, it kind of introduces like the opposite of power creep. What's the opposite of power creep? Where you have so many characters that can do well, it's almost like a power slump, where it's like they're all doing so strong that there's not really a power creep, but the strong character's just strong. I mean that's what it feels like, at least. I wonder if they're kind of going the opposite route of a game like Wuthering Waves, where instead of having like a few staple characters, they're kind of building their character roster to the point where you have a lot of options. And this is comforting, but slightly worrying, I guess, for the long term, to where it's like, can you have too many characters who can do, who can really outperform, you know, like, that can do well. I mean, it's not a bad thing for players, I guess, but like, I guess down the line, maybe I wonder if that would be an issue.
Could be S ranks. Now the question is though, what happens to Lighter though? Lighter is very definitely a part of the Sons of Caledon, so does that mean that he is going to be the A rank shown off third? Maybe just breaking the norm? Maybe Lighter is also going to be an S rank and he gets pushed over to patch 1.3 maybe, since it's typically 2 banners per patch. In fact, in the notes that they made regarding future patches, the team behind ZENLESS Zone Zero did say that they were
currently you can control only wives rebel in the city instead of the agents you've obtained. Oh, they're going to introduce, sounds like you can play as the characters that you chose. I like that. That's good. We will continuously be improving models for agents to provide proxies with an improved visual experience. I don't know if I like that. Is it a good thing to improve the visual models for older characters? I mean, think of for like a gotcha's health, like long term. Like if you're making like the old characters look good, then why get the new character? I mean, power levels, of course, always a thing. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not against it whatsoever. I mean, having the characters looks improve is great, especially because I know a number of characters were like notably nerfed as far as their looks, and the end state of the game. So
we're working on upgrading and maybe improving some of the visuals of certain characters and models in game. So maybe Lighter is going to receive one.
I will say one thing I hope they don't change with this is I really like one of my favorite parts about Zenless Zone Zero is in the combat, there isn't a lot of clutter. I mean, coming from an MMO, you guys hate when I say MMOs, I know it. I know it. But coming from an MMO, there's so much like mod clutter and add-on clutter. And because of the nature of these games, I feel like a lot of the animation clutter is probably some of like my least favorite, because as I'm getting older, my vision's kind of going a bit too. And so it's harder to see stuff when it flashes or comes online. Zenless Zone Zero really doesn't have that issue. So I hope that improved visual experience doesn't come at the cost of that clarity. And I think that's like something, it's like, I think the reason, if I were to guess why they're doing this, is because when a game is released, you want it to be accessible to the most amount of people. And so visual fidelity comes at the cost of your player base, because not everyone can access that visual fidelity, either due to lack of hardware or lack of ability to digest and process that. But that's something that can be improved over time, because you have your player base established. They will meet you in the middle with that. So maybe that's what they're saying. But as long as I'm able to like still visually see my combat, then I'm okay with it.
One of these touch-ups, making him even fancier and better, and coming back as an even cooler.
They always put UI in there. I don't see a problem with the UI. It's just something you learn. I don't know why people are on about.
We'll have to wait and see if they show off anything else aside from these two characters. However, this does throw quite a wrench in people's pool plans, I would imagine. Suddenly now you start to wonder, should you skip patch 1.1? I mean, yeah, Qingyi is a good stunner, but we already have two other S-rank stunners in Lycan and Collida. And yes, Jane is going to be a brand new limited anomaly unit, but so could Burnice. Meanwhile, we also have Caesar, the first ever S-rank defender. I know for me though, I am dead set on getting Caesar no matter what. For me personally, I guess my only issue with defender is like, I don't feel like you need one. So maybe they'll introduce content where that requires you to need one. Maybe they already have. I just haven't really needed one. But for me, I would say like the one thing I guess I can speculate about and worry about as well is that I guess what I'm thinking of is you have a number of characters that I think add enough variety. I think Zenless Zone Zero does a better job than Wuthering Waves does with like your DPS characters not just being pure DPS characters, or even just sub DPS to make your main DPS better. Like you actually have characters like Anomaly it matters, you know, stun characters, they matter. So I think they have enough variety within their DPS characters to be something more than just their mainstay role. They can fit into something different and still synergize with their team. I would say the part I don't like the most is where it starts to feel like a meter simulator, where like you're just filling up meters, fill up this stun meter, fill up this this element anomaly meter, you know, get the shock, get the what is it called for where you mix two together. It's like it feels like a meter simulator, and it's really hard to figure out like proper combat rotations, not because you get interrupted like in Wuthering Waves. I feel like Wuthering Waves, it's hard to do combat rotations because you have stuff that's constantly like, stop doing combat. It feels like a raid almost, where you're getting constantly interrupting your combat rotation. But in this, it starts to feel like meter simulator, where it's like, oh, I need to fill up this meter, I need to fill up this meter, I need to fill up this meter, and it starts to suck the fun out of it a bit. So I hope that's not what we're leading to, where it's just like we're just filling all these meters, and that's all we start to care about. Probably going to be skipping Qingyi because 1, there are other S-rank stunners available, and 2, the featured A-ranks on her banner aren't really what I'm looking for, Billy and Corin. Meanwhile, I'll do a few rolls on Jane Doe's banner. It'd be nice if I do get her, but more importantly, I'm looking to try and get Seth, so that once Caesar does come around, I can have a full defender team of Seth, Ben, and Caesar. Yes, I know it's not going to work out, but I'm going to have a lot of fun using it. But what about you guys though? Let me know in the comments down below who you are most excited for, and until next time, bye-bye.
Great video. Subscribe to him, you know, if you get the chance. Really well thought out, and a lot of speculation that I think I agree with as well. I think long term, I think the game, it seems like if I were to look at like long term, what I think could be a negative from stuff like this is when you introduce a lot of characters all at once, is that it has the possibility of causing sort of like a character character introduction burnout where it's like, well, you know, there might be another character on the horizon. Like, I don't know, you know, introducing characters too soon, or putting out the drip marketing too soon to where it's like, well, I got to skip this one because I want this one more, whether it's because of looks or style of character or meta. But maybe it fits all the boxes. I mean, like, I think Zenless Zone Zero is a game that it's meant to fill a box that maybe the other games of Hoyoverse are not filling. So maybe they're doing that in a sense. They're kind of giving that content availability there. That way, when they switch to, you know, Hoyoverse being on the main stage, or something like that, or HSR being on the main stage, maybe it's to like, hey, you still got stuff for this other game. So maybe that's the idea. But to me, if I were to look at, you know, be a bit of a negative Nancy, it seems like they're trying to encourage some burnout to kind of get people all set on characters. But I mean, it's great for the player base. I mean, a lot of you end up getting a lot of characters that can be very interesting. The only thing that can be, you know, the big issue is, you know, if it's power creep, if it ends up replacing your whole team, or if it ends up being the thing, and then you miss out on something. So it introduces a lot of speculation, but I think we won't know truly until it's released. And of course, you know, how far they space apart these patches. You know, I think that'll be really interesting. So hope you enjoyed the video. What characters are you excited for personally? And I hope to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.